I'm not well. Do you know who else isn't well? The Riddler.
Or perhaps is he the most well? Is he the only sane person in a unsane city?
Wow. What an interesting idea.
We watched The Batman, everyone.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting ideas, I think there were some in this, but I have a feeling you're going to say there wasn't. Let's start with, did you enjoy this movie?
I thought it started really well. Yes. And then I got less and less interested as time passed. Like, the way it looks, that's called cinematography.
Yes.
That was good.
It looks pretty.
And my brother is eagle-eyed, right? And he told me afterwards, he was like, you know when they had the first wide shot of the club, there was a bloke sat in the apartment, and I was like, oh shit, really? And then I like went on the internet, and it was like, yeah, that was the thing that happened. And I'm like, how has my brother spotted that? When I found out afterwards that loads of people adored it, I was like, I get that, you know, it's better than Batfleck, but like, and Clooney, and
don't you dare say Kilmer.
But like, I don't know, I feel like it's the first time Batman was a proper detective, which I really, really liked, right? Because it felt like the whole film, Batman was kind of insignificant because he was a step behind the Riddler the whole way, and didn't figure out his plan, and his plan happened, and all he was doing
he didn't stop it.
was being a flood helper. Like what's the difference between him and someone that put on a high vis and hands out food afterwards, you know? Anyway, but then I realised that actually, you know, because it's clear from the very beginning that this is a very rough, rugged Batman that's very new, it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't be as sharp as the finished product. Yeah. But yeah, anything that you'd like to say?
Well, just on that note, so it's Batman's sort of year 2. He's doing some good fights, but then he's just getting punched because he still can't take on 10 people at once effectively. And then when he's like, sometimes when they have guns, he's just walking into bullet fire, which is like, he doesn't know how to, even though he's bulletproof, which is maybe bad. We'll talk about that a bit more, but yeah, he doesn't know how to do. He doesn't have the full arsenal of tricks. He doesn't have all the Batman tricks yet. And I think it's great at the end where he like explodes a fire extinguisher and it does a big smoke bomb, you know. And he's and at that point I thought, oh great, we're gonna get a bit of stealthness, and we didn't. He just dropped down and beat everyone up. But yeah, you can see at that point maybe he was like, oh actually. Maybe I could have something like this.
I'm pretty sure he got a notepad out and was like, "Oh, that thing. Yeah. I'll use that one again."
I think in the distraction while they were all running around in the fog, he was going, "Oh, do you know what? Note to Alfred: make me some smoke bombs when you get out of hospital." So yes, I enjoyed Inexperienced Batman. I think it was. I've said before, it was definitely the right call to go young Batman, because we've just seen old Batman twice in The Dark Knight Rises, although that was 10 years ago, and Batman vs Superman. So it's definitely good to go young and inexperienced. He probably hasn't had any involvement with Wayne Industries, so he probably has no way of getting like high tech and stuff, so he's just having to build this Batmobile himself. Yeah. So which is fantastic when it first appears and he stalls it immediately. Did you notice that?
No.
The Batmobile stalls. Like, right. When it's like revving up in the darkness, and then it stalls. Like, yeah, he it gets like, you see it and it's introduced as this like monster. It like lights up and everyone's all terrified of it, and then just and it was fantastic. But it was only on it for a second, but it was so funny to me, because I was like, yeah, he's had to build this himself with like presumably bits of metal he has to steal from bins and stuff. So
the bin mobile.
My favourite element, like you said, my favourite element of Batman is when he's a detective, and we didn't get loads of it in this film, but we got more than we've ever got before, so that's good. It's a shame none of the riddles the audience wasn't really given any time to like try and figure out any of the riddles. I mean, there weren't even that many riddles, I would say.
Yeah. Riddle me this. Why am I so inept?
But then there's a big fake out where it's like, Bruce Wayne, hey, Batman, we didn't get Bruce Wayne. What a shame.
Well, that, to me, is really interesting, because I don't know whether he actually did figure it out and he was pretending, or whether he is just an idiot.
You would think if he's... I don't know. It's interesting, because in a way, if he's so smart, then maybe he would say something like that to gauge Batman's response. You know, and if you were watching him, like the audience were, he like totally freaked out when Riddler first said Bruce Wayne. He's like, oh shit, he knows it's me. And he said it 4 more times and then said, too bad we couldn't get Bruce Wayne. So if Riddler was so smart, on the one hand you would think, oh, he probably did say that as a test, and maybe he did figure it out from that. But then there's also the idea that Riddler is like, you know, he's smart in that way. And he's smart. He's good at riddles. He's not smart. He's you know, he's borderline autistic probably. You know, he can't read facial expressions and stuff. Like to the point that he thought Batman was on his side, and you know. And speaking of that, I didn't really enjoy that element of his character. I thought we didn't need another villain that like idolizes Batman. I mean, we got that in The Dark Knight pretty much, with Joker being like, I mean, he didn't do what he does because of Batman, but he's like, I'm so excited you're here. I did what I did, and now you're here, and I love it. And I want to impress you. And then we have Riddler being like, oh yeah, me and you, Batman, we're the 2 people cleaning up this city. Am I right? And
I'm Ed Kemper, and you're some other serial killer.
So I didn't think we needed that again. Speaking of Joker, and speaking of things we didn't need.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
That annoyed me. That was the one point I was like, oh, come on now. Come on, Matt Reeves. You've been pretty restrained for a comic book fan directing a comic book movie. You've been pretty restrained with your like Easter eggs and references to other things. I thought we didn't need that at all. So that really annoyed me. And also just that entire like third act.
The third act was annoying to me.
Well, I say
it was my least favourite.
By that point, probably like the fifth act.
3.5, 4. I mean, my problem was, where does the second act stop and the third act start? Because it kind of dragged on a bit.
End the movie with the bridges blowing up. The seaside, you know, the walls, the barriers, the floodgates. End with them blowing up and Gotham being flooded and Batman just having to deal with the aftermath. You don't also need the right-wing internet troll army the Riddler has amassed to shoot a Black Mare or whatever. Well, it's like, oh, come on.
This is it. What would you title this movie if it was up to you? We've had Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Why don't we have Batman versus alt-right TikTok star?
There we go.
Because I have to say, that really jarred me. As someone who doesn't use social media, I was like, what is he doing on his phone, and why are these people listening to him?
Okay, so Batman's fighting corruption. Great, you know. I mean, he's fighting villains, but then he's like, when the villain starts killing corrupt people, he's like, I'm okay with this. Yeah. Even though he's supposedly stopping them, but like, so many people die. I mean, he didn't save anyone. Did he save anyone?
Do you know who he did save? He saved that kid who was going to join the gang in the beginning.
Yeah,
by
that's true.
Saying, don't do gangs, because you'll get beaten up by a man in a suit. I think he was a fine Batman.
Okay.
And I quite like him in general, but he was better in Tenet. He's not winning an Oscar.
You are the only person in the world that
likes Tenet. I know.
It's James Bond, but in time. Yeah, but
it's worse than that.